What's up, everybody? I'm back with another Top 5 Thursday. And the one I chose, I think, almost doesn't work, but it kind of does. Either my mom or my stepdad, Kelly, submitted this. I'm also not sure which one of those people it was. Was it my mom? Was it my stepdad? Who knows? They got the whole joint Facebook thing going on. But they said Top 5 Stand-Up Comedians. I was like, this may work as like a slant type of thing, you know? So, let's also do it to switch things up. But also, I gotta tell you, I'm not exactly sure how to go into depth about stand-up comedians, I feel like. So this might be one of my shorter videos. But either way, for my mom or for Kelly, my stepdad, here's Top 5 stand-up comedians, at least in my opinion. And this list, let me go ahead and say before I start it, let me preference this with saying my favorite all-time comedian, like collectively, I don't think is on this list. I think my favorite all-time would probably have to be Dave Chappelle. And even though I get pretty hyped for his new stuff, it's still solid. And honestly, when the guy's not even being funny, it's still a blast just to listen to him. You know what I mean? So I love some Dave Chappelle, but I'm thinking more in the realm of right now who I get the most excited for. Dave Chappelle, debatably, maybe could be on this list, but in the end, he was just on the outside looking in with one other person who I won't mention because, yeah, I don't want to give too many honorable mentions, you know. But I had to mention Dave just on the merits that he's my favorite of all time. But going to number 5, this is going to have to be Joe Coy. Joe Coy, I think, is a pretty fucking underrated comedian. And honestly, he kind of touches on a lot of the things I find the funniest. You know, I'm not, Mr. Knock Knock Joke or any kind of joke kind of guy. Not many people are Knock Knock Joke. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about there, but you know what I'm saying. Just your basic fucking joke type of shit. Or people that are just mean for the sake of being mean. Although maybe there might be at least one person on this list that does get kind of dark in terms of being mean. And you're like, oh, he went there. But for me, in general, like my favorite stand-up comedians, I think, really present that relatability and the life story type of style. And I think Joe Coy kind of really embodies that very well. Another one that's really good at that, obviously, that a lot of people love is Kevin Hart. He's one of my favorites as well. I've never understood the random hate train that kind of people jumped on with him. But I think Joe Coy, I don't know, because Hart's another person, I'll go ahead and say it, didn't make my list. I think Hart maybe did that kind of thing better overall. But as far as who I get most hyped for nowadays, I think Joe Coy edges him out a little bit. And, for me, he's that kind of comedian for me. I love hearing him talk about his son. Of course, he talks about his mom. It's fucking hysterical. Joseph, all that shit. Joe Coy is a funny motherfucker, dude. Joe Coy would be my number 5. Okay, my number 4. How do I want to do this? I'm going to go Tom Segura. Tom. Yeah, this is a guy, I feel like I kind of caught on to him early, man. Like a lot of people, even to this day, I still got to put people onto him. But even the people that, follow stand-up comedy, at least quite a bit like me, I mean, I'm not like a connoisseur of the shit, but I watch it more than the average person, I'd say, and get into it a little more. I mean, I don't watch it, but like when there's a great stand-up comedy, I might not enjoy anything more, you know what I mean? And Tom Segura is nothing short of that with some of the shit he has said. And he's one of those comedians that does go a bit dark, and I normally don't like that for whatever reason. I like joking, and I'm not necessarily like the joke police where I'll tell you like, hey, too soon about certain shit like some people do. Like, I'm not soft, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it doesn't really tickle my fancy, if you will. But Tom Segura, something in the delivery, his nonchalantness, the cleverness of how he comes up with it, and just the brutal honesty, you know what I mean? It just really works. I saw Tom Segura live like a couple of years ago, I think it was now. Maybe 1 year ago. It might have been 1. But I saw him with my cousin Josh, of course, on the podcast. we both laughed our ass off. He had people walking out. He's making jokes about that. You know what I mean? Because some people can't handle his comedy. He does get a little bit offensive, but you know, if you're a Tom Segura fan, we all love him for that. At number 3, I gotta go Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan still delivers for me, man. And I think a big reason why is kind of like what I talked about and touched on with Dave is there's a reason his podcast works so well. It isn't just the fact that he's funny. He can be hilarious one moment, but you can also just listen to him shoot the shit. And I think that's something a lot of comics kind of struggle with. Like, they can sit there and they can make you laugh over and over and over and over again, but if they hit a dry spot, you feel it more because they can't just conversate. If the jokes ain't running a mile a minute, all of a sudden you're not really interested in them. Joe Rogan has that balance of being hilarious, but he's also a very interesting human being. You know what I mean? And I think that really bodes well for him, not even just on his podcast, but he carries that over into his stand-up a lot of the time. Like, there's a lot of times where I'm not just laughing my ass off, or I might be at the same time, but I'm also kind of taking in, like, messages and stuff he says, where I'm just like, how did your high ass think this up? And why is it so accurate? Like, I've never even really thought about that before, but it's fucking true. And it's so off the wall with Rogan, but yet so centered at the same time. It's such a weird dynamic that he somehow pulls together and just makes it so right. Like, he's such an interesting individual, man. Love some Joe Rogan like so many people do. And I love his stand-up still. Jesus, still makes some bangers. Yeah, Joe Rogan at 3. At number 2, I got to go... Fuck, dude, this is tough. This could switch. You know how it is. This could switch any other day you ask me. Theo Vaughn is going to be my number 2. And, I mean, if not just on the premise that he is just his own person. Like, nobody's funny like Theo, dude. Now, you could be like, is there people funnier? Yeah, maybe debatably, but nobody's funny like Theo Vaughn. Theo Vaughn is hilarious, and nobody has ever felt more relatable as like an everyday dude. If you listen to his podcast where he spits jokes the whole time, just like he does on stage, it's still, like, it's very intriguing and actually heartfelt. And when you got a guy like that, when you really get to know him on his podcast this past weekend, it makes you care for his comedy that much more, because he seems like such a down-to-earth, flawed individual, but he knows his flaws, and he puts them out on Front Street, and you don't get that kind of thing from comedians that much. You know what I mean? Like, he's not afraid to be like, hey, I'm here. I don't even know why I'm here, but I'm here. I made it, and also... I still got a lot of skeletons in my closet I'm cleaning out. And you know what? A lot of people have a lot worse, but they won't put him on Front Street like he does. He's so transparent, and it comes through like it's nothing. Like, and it's wild also, talking about dynamics, how you go back to Theo's jokes where it seems like he's so not serious at all, like the least serious person you've ever heard of. And then you come back to his fucking, like, actual life, and you're like, holy shit, dude. This guy right here is like, you know, like, he's the most serious individual you can find in the room when you actually get to the root and knowledge of who he is, man. And it's incredible. It truly is. Theo, yeah, very incredible. Yeah, but Theo he's one of a kind, man. And you can tell, like, it's one of those things, it's not an act. He truly cares. And I'll say this much, too. I saw him also with my cousin Josh live, and I don't think I've ever laughed that hard, like, in my life. Like, I don't even, like, it's one of those things, like, course patting at Theo, you're like, what is he even talking about right now? But usually when somebody's like, what's he talking about, you kind of laugh like that. But with Theo, you're like, what in the fuck is he talking about? Like, you die laughing. You know what I mean? And I mean, I'm not lying. When I was in that theater, dude, like, my head was like, you know, like, you tense up a little bit and you laugh, like, like, my head was like flexing, dude. It was like tightening. I was like almost like I was like, I gotta leave the room. My head is clenching together from laughter too much. I gotta get the fuck out of here. Theo is truly one of a kind, dude. Love his stand-up act. And then at number 1, go fuck yourself, Bill Burr, dude. Bill Burr. Again, a guy that wears, maybe there's something to that. He wears his flaws on his sleeve, dude. He knows he's an asshole. Hell, the guy I just talked about before this, he came on this past weekend and came off as an asshole to Theo. And Bill Burr's like Theo's idol from what I've heard. So like, that's just who he is, man. Like he's just a complete dick. He's unapologetic about it, but yet at the same time, these comedians and their dynamics, he realizes it and he knows he needs to fix it. And it's great. Like, I mean, you want to hear somebody just shoot the shit about something and just laugh. Like, I just want to hear somebody rant and ramble. Doesn't even matter what the fuck it is. Bill Burr is your guy, dude. I don't care what he's talking about. I'm looking at a table right now. If I was Bill Burr, I'd be like, this fucking table, you know? I mean, I don't know what's going on with this table right here, but this fucking table, you know? And then he just goes on a fucking, and you're just dying laughing the whole time. You're like, again, how does he make this funny, but in a different way than somebody like a Theo Vaughn? He's just, like, I don't know if anybody makes realness as funny as Bill Burr does. And like I said, to open, where I kind of talked about Joe Coy, how I'm more in line with the relatable comedian, where I'm like, you know, and I think a lot of people are, but that I definitely gravitate towards that. Like, dude, I do that shit every day. You know what I mean? I'm that kind of person. I want to see that type of comedian, and most of them have it in their act, obviously, but when they just, it's just, I'm not even writing jokes out here. I'm just saying, I went to the supermarket the other day. Bill Burr is perfect for that kind of thing, and he's really like the perfect fucking comedian, dude. I mean, he's everything, dude. Literally everything all in one. So I'm not too mad at myself for putting Burr number one, but damn it, it's close between him and Theo. And like I said, this is my how I'm feeling today type of list. I mean, it's not like this isn't a list that fluctuates like crazy. It's just, it might be a little different. There probably still be some of these guys in here on my all-time list. Like I said, Chappelle, I think, is the GOAT for all intents and purposes. But this has been my top 5 for at least a couple years. You know, they flip-flop. Maybe one person comes in, one person comes out type of deal. But it's pretty sturdy. But this is as of today. You know what I mean? But yeah, appreciate it. Nice list. Kind of works with movies. Maybe not. I don't know. But also, like I said, I like the, you know, like different. Like it's something different. You know what I mean? Kind of shakes things up a bit, and I like that. And it's not too far off the path to where, like, I'm not over there like, let's do top 5 Bed Bath & Beyond mats. This one's my favorite. Yeah, we're not doing shit like that. We're talking about stand-up comedians. Some of these dudes have appeared in fucking movies. You know what I mean? You're watching them on TV. Close enough. I'll do shows, too, if y'all do that. So thank you for watching, as usual. And thank you, Mom and or Kelly, whoever submitted this. Maybe y'all both did at the same time. You're like, stand-up comedian. That's what I was going to say. And then, you know, it worked either way. But appreciate y'all. And appreciate y'all, all of you. I always get confused with this camera's at, because my camera is here, but my actual computer's over there. But yeah, appreciate y'all, man. I got to get off here and stop being a lazy bum. I got to do some running around. Hey, thanks, though, for real. Love y'all, man.